The engine of his motorcycle echoed like a dare across the courtyard. Everyone looked, everyone stared, except her. Yoon Da-yeon didn't flinch, didn't pause, didn't even glance up from her notebook as Ryu Chan revved past the school gates. That was the moment he noticed her, and the moment everything began to unravel. "I bet she irons her socks," he muttered, leaning against his locker, chewing on a lollipop stick. His friends laughed. "Straight A Da-yeon? She probably dreams in graphs," Chan smirked. But something about her calmness, her silence, her complete disinterest in him, it itched. He didn't like being ignored, especially not by someone so clean, so untouchable. That afternoon, during group assignments, fate handed him exactly what he didn't ask for. Ryu Chan, Yoon Da-yeon, Group 3. The entire class gasped. Da-yeon just blinked, then began organizing her materials without a word. Chan raised an eyebrow. "You know we have nothing in common, right?" She looked, him in the eye, voice calm. "Then it's a perfect chance to learn something." From day one, their dynamic was fire and ice. He was late, loud, and full of sarcasm. She was precise, punctual, and immune to his charm. But something shifted in the third meeting. She was waiting for him by the courtyard bench, eyes closed, letting the sun warm her face. No books, no planner. He stopped walking. "You're early," he said. She opened her eyes. "You're on time." He laughed. "Guess we're both off character today." It started with arguments, then teasing, then shared snacks, hesitant smiles, and long silences that weren't uncomfortable. She scolded him for skipping study sessions. He teased her about never breaking rules. He called her Princess Perfect. She called him Detention King. Somewhere in the middle, the lines blurred. One Friday evening, he showed up outside her cram school, helmet in hand, jacket zipped. "You studied enough." "Time to learn balance," he said. She hesitated. "I don't." "Ride bikes," he grinned. "Then today's your first rebellion." She climbed on, held on, and screamed when he accelerated. But she laughed louder, and when they stopped at the top of the hill, breathless, wind-tossed, cheeks flushed, she looked at him like he was a secret she hadn't dared to imagine. "You're not what people say," she whispered. "Neither are you," he replied. He started passing his tests. She started wearing her hair a little looser. They weren't official. They didn't need to be. It was something quiet and electric, known only between shared glances and fingers brushing under tables, until he showed up, Kang Dae-jin, her ex-polished, polite, persistent. He found Da-yeon in the library one afternoon and sat across from her. "I heard about the rebel." "That's your type now?" She closed her book. "He's not what you think. You said that about me once." She stood to leave, but he grabbed her wrist, gently but firm. "You used to tell me everything. I still remember." Chan saw, fell up in the wrist, the closeness, the look on her face, unreadable from a distance. He clenched his fists and turned away before she could notice. That night, he didn't reply to her texts. The next day, he didn't meet her after school. She waited, worried. Then, walked home alone by Monday. The tension between them was undeniable. They met near the back stairwell between classes. She approached him, concerned. "You've been avoiding me." "I saw you with him." She blinked. "My ex?" "You didn't pull away." "I did." "You left before you saw," he scoffed. "Convenient." Her eyes narrowed. "You don't trust me?" "I've seen this before," he snapped. "Girls saying one thing and doing another." "And you think I'm like them?" He didn't answer. That silence cut deeper than a scream. "I thought we were different," she whispered. He looked away. "So did I," she said, then walked off. Behind the school building, Chan lit a cigarette, then crushed it before even taking a drag. He wasn't angry at her, he was angry at himself, for believing, for hoping, for feeling something real again. He wanted to run after her, apologize, but he didn't, because pride was louder than love, and he'd been burned before. That night, she didn't reply to his message. Not the next day either, or the day after that. And just like that, something fragile was broken. Ryu Chan never thought silence could be this loud. For the first time in weeks, the courtyard was too still. No sarcastic greetings, no sharp glances, no Princess Perfect telling him to stop chewing gum in class. Yoon Da-yeon was still at school, but she wasn't with him, and the space where her presence used to echo, in study rooms near the bench outside the gym, in the corner of his mind, felt painfully vacant. The worst part, she hadn't even yelled. She just looked at him with disappointment so heavy, it hurt more than any insult ever could. On Thursday, he walked into the classroom and saw her laughing softly with another student. A quiet kind of laugh. Careful, guarded, but it wasn't for him. She glanced at Chan once, then turned away. "Still failing history?" a voice asked behind him. He turned to see Teacher Park holding a red-inked paper. "You need a miracle," she added. "Or a tutor," he muttered. And that's when the thought hit him. That afternoon, he waited by her locker. She slowed down when she saw him, but didn't stop. Wait. She didn't. "I'm sorry," he said, not loudly, but just enough. She stopped walking, turned to face him. "I didn't lie," she said. "You just didn't wait long enough to see the truth." "I know." She looked at him for a moment. That felt like hours. "Why are you here, Chan?" "I need help. With studying." She raised an eyebrow. "You? Asking for help?" He nodded. She didn't smile, but she didn't walk away either. "Fine. 1 hour. Library. No distractions." The first session was painful. He couldn't focus. She refused to look at him for longer than a second. He tried joking. She didn't laugh, but she stayed. By the third session, he could answer questions faster. By the fifth, she started leaving notes in his notebook like, "If you remember this, I might forgive you a little." He smiled like an idiot every time. On a Wednesday afternoon, he passed his first mock test. He ran to her after class. "I did it. 83. She looked surprised, then genuinely happy. She smiled fully, and he realized just how much he had missed it. Later that week, she found a note in her locker. A helmet was waiting beside it. "You helped me study. Now let me teach you something." She stood beside his motorcycle again, this time with a small smile. "You remember the first time? Like a movie," he said. "You almost killed us. You screamed louder than the engine." She rolled her eyes, but climbed on. They drove past the school, through the streets, up the quiet hill where they had once watched the city lights. He stopped the bike, pulled off his helmet, and turned to her. "I missed this," she nodded. "Me too." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded note. "Wrote you something." She unfolded it slowly. It was a sketch of her, sitting on the bike, hair flying, eyes bright. Underneath, he had written, "You're my calm in the chaos." Her throat tightened. "You draw?" "Only you." They sat together side by side, watching the sun lower into golden hues. "Why did you get so jealous?" she asked gently. He didn't answer at first. Then, "Because I've been the guy who got lied to before, and it broke something in me." She turned to him. "I'm not her, and I'm not him." "I know." She hesitated. "I don't want to live in fear of your past, Chan. I don't want to make you carry it," he whispered. He looked at her, truly looked. "Are we okay?" She smiled, small but true. "For now." And that was enough. The next weeks were different, warmer. He started walking her to class. She started waiting for him outside detention. He doodled her initials on his notebook. She stopped correcting his grammar every time. He introduced her to his little sister, who said, "You're prettier than I thought someone smart would be." She laughed. He said nothing, but his heart squeezed. One afternoon he asked, "Why me?" Da-yeon paused. "Because you made me feel something I couldn't schedule. It wasn't perfect." They argued. They had awkward silences, but it was real, growing and strong, until it cracked again. One hallway, one smile, one presence, her ex back smiling, carrying coffee, and everything Chan feared started knocking again. It began with a coffee cup, an ordinary iced latte, condensation running down the side, a green straw poking out. But in Chan's eyes, it wasn't a drink. It was a trigger. He saw it from across the hallway, Da-yeon standing by the lockers, and Kang. Dae-jin and her ex, standing way too close, holding the drink, smiling like he had every right to be there, like he knew something Chan didn't. Chan stopped walking. Everything inside him froze. Da-yeon didn't look uncomfortable. She didn't look happy either, but she accepted the coffee, and when she smiled, even politely, it was enough to make something inside Chan start to boil. That evening, he didn't answer her calls. The next morning, he avoided the library. By the time she cornered him near the stairwell after fourth period, his walls were already halfway up. "You're ignoring me again," she said calmly. "I'm busy. You're sulking." "Am I not allowed to be?" "Busy," she exhaled. "I didn't know he was coming. He said he just wanted to talk." "Yeah. Did he also say he still has feelings for you?" She blinked. "How did you—" Chan laughed, but it was cold, he told Hae-jun. Said he came back to fix a mistake. Sound familiar? "It doesn't matter," she said. "It matters." "To me," he snapped. Her voice rose slightly. "Why, because you don't trust me again?" "You're smiling with him." It was polite. It didn't look polite. "And what does that mean, Chan? That I can't even be civil without you accusing me of something?" He crossed his arms, jaw tight. "I've seen this before. The just friends thing. The fake distance. It always ends the same." She stepped back. "And you think I'm like every girl who hurt you?" He didn't answer. Silence again. And this time it screamed. That afternoon he skipped class, rode his bike to the river, threw rocks until his hands hurt. Da-yeon sat in the classroom, staring at the empty seat beside hers, where he should have been, where he always was. The following week they barely spoke. When they passed in the hallway, it was like they didn't know each other, except their eyes still searched, still waited, still hurt. One day Kang Dae-jin walked up to her again. "I guess things aren't so perfect now, huh?" She didn't respond. "You know, he's just like everyone said, a storm. You never know when he'll destroy something." She turned slowly. "I'd rather be in a storm that's honest than in a calm that's full of lies." He shut up. After that. Meanwhile, Chan stopped attending music club, stopped drawing, even stopped riding his motorcycle. His mother noticed. "Where's the boy who used to laugh like he didn't care about the world?" she asked. Chan stared at his ceiling that night and whispered to no one. He cared. Too much. One rainy afternoon, Da-yeon found herself standing in front of the music room. The door was slightly open, the lights were off. She stepped in quietly and saw the notebook, his sketchbook, on the piano bench. She flipped it open and saw pages filled with her smiling, crying, laughing, 100 versions of the girl he thought he had lost. At the back, one unfinished drawing, her, back turned, walking away, titled, "What?" I deserved. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She closed the notebook gently and left. The next day, she wasn't at school, or the day after, or the day after that. Chan showed up to class late, hoodie up, eyes dull. Someone asked, "Where's Da-yeon?" No one answered, but his stomach dropped because he didn't know either. After school, he rode aimlessly, stopped in front of her house, no lights on, knocked once, no answer. He sat on his bike for hours, remembering the way she used to look at him, like he mattered, like he wasn't just a bad boy with anger issues. "I messed up," he said aloud, and for the first time in his life he didn't feel like running from it. The next morning he stood in front of his mirror, took off the hoodie, put on his school jacket, and stared at his reflection. You either fight for what's real, or you keep losing what matters. He picked up a marker and started writing. Ryu Chan didn't sleep the night before. His body was exhausted, but his mind wouldn't stop. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face, angry, hurt, disappointed, but worst of all, gone. By the time he got to school, the whole courtyard seemed quieter. People whispered when he passed. He didn't care. He had a mission. When he got to the classroom, she wasn't there. Desk, empty. Chair pushed in. He sat anyway, as if she might walk in at any moment and pretend nothing had happened. But she didn't. Lunchtime came and went. No Da-yeon. He asked around. She didn't show up today either, someone said. She hasn't posted anything online either, another added. Chan's chest tightened. He went to the music room. Nothing. The library. Empty. The courtyard bench. Cold. At sunset, he walked to the school rooftop, the place where they had once watched the lights together. She wasn't there, but the wind felt like her voice, soft, honest, unforgiving. He punched the wall, hard, then slid down to the ground, head in his hands. "Why do I always ruin everything that feels good?" he whispered. That night he went home and stared at the sketch he'd been avoiding, the one of her walking away. He picked up his pencil and finished it. But this time, he drew himself in the background, running after her. The next morning, he made a decision, a real one. No more hiding behind sarcasm, no more pretending not to care, no more pride. He grabbed a white cloth from the art room, a red marker, and started writing, big, bold, raw. During lunch break, students gathered near the entrance. Something was happening. Someone screamed, then laughed. Phones came out. People started filming. Chan pulled up on his motorcycle, helmet on. Jacket unzipped, hair slightly messy from the wind, but his eyes focused, dead serious. Behind him, on the bike, tied to the back with cords, a giant banner. "Trust isn't given, it's earned, and I'm earning it, for you." Below it, her name, Yoon Da-yeon. Gasps spread across the crowd. "Is that?" He's serious. "I think I'm gonna cry," but one person wasn't there to see it. Da-yeon. She was across town, walking home from her part-time tutoring job. Still silent, still raw, still wondering if she made the right decision by stepping away. Her phone buzzed, dozens of messages, pictures, videos. Her heart stopped when she saw the banner. Her name, his face. She didn't run. She flew. Back at the school, Chan stood, alone next to his bike, waiting, worried, hopeful, terrified. Then, footsteps. He turned. She was walking toward him. No makeup, hair in a loose ponytail, school bag hanging off one shoulder, eyes locked on his. He pulled off his helmet. She stopped right. In front of him, neither of them spoke at first. Then, "You think a banner fixes everything?" she asked softly. "No," he said, "but it's a start." She looked at the fabric behind him. "I didn't lie. I know. I waited for you to believe me." "I should have," he said, voice cracking. "I wasn't her. I was me. I was scared, but I was honest." He nodded. "I was the one lying," he said, "to myself about how much I need you." The silence stretched. Not awkward, heavy, emotional, electric. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. "I'm sorry I broke it before trusting it," he said. "I'm sorry I didn't fight harder," she whispered. They looked at each other, two broken hearts trying to meet in the middle. Then slowly she picked up the helmet from his hand, put it on, strapped it, and said, "Let's go somewhere new." He smiled, the biggest, realest smile he had in weeks, got on the bike. She climbed behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, tight. As they sped away, students cheered, phones recorded. But none of that mattered, not to them. The only thing that mattered was this: they were choosing each other. Again. It was supposed to be over. After everything they had been through, the accusations, the silence, the pain, Yoon Da-yeon thought she had reached the final page of the story. But life, like love, rarely followed perfect outlines. A week passed. Then, two. They still exchanged glances, brief, hesitant, but no words, no touches, only the echo of what almost was. Da-yeon kept her head down. She buried herself in textbooks, smiled less, ate alone. The fire inside her dimmed, slowly, like a candle left, to burn in a closed room, until the day she walked into the school courtyard and saw the motorcycle again, parked right by the front gate, shiny, familiar, waiting. But this time, something was different. A new banner was tied to the front, longer, brighter, handwritten in thick black ink. "Trust is proven, love is earned." "I'm still here for you." She stopped in her tracks, her breath caught. Students around her started whispering. Is it happening again? Is that for her? Wait, look. He's here. Ryu Chan walked out from behind the school building, helmet in hand, backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes locked on hers. He didn't smile. Not yet. He just walked. Slow. Steady. As if every step was an apology, a promise, a choice. When he reached her, he handed her a folded piece of paper. She unfolded it, hands trembling. It was the sketch he had never finished, but now it was complete. It showed her standing strong, facing forward, and beside her, him, not holding her, not leading her, just standing with her, as equals, as partners. She looked up. His voice cracked. I was scared of trusting someone again, but even more scared of losing you. A tear slipped down her cheek. I waited, she whispered, hoping you'd see me. I always saw you, he said. I just didn't know how to believe what I saw. The courtyard was silent. Every student watched, holding their breath, cameras half raised, hearts pounding. But Da-yeon didn't notice. All she saw was him. Raw, honest, hers. She took a step closer. Then show me, she said. He blinked. Show you what trust looks like, what love sounds like. He hesitated, then lifted the helmet slowly, placed it over her head, strapped it under her chin with shaking fingers, and leaned in. Their kiss wasn't loud or exaggerated. It was soft, real. His lips on hers through the curve of the helmet, as if telling the world, even if I'm clumsy, even if it's hard, and I'll love you right this time. Gasps, squeals, applause. But Da-yeon's eyes stayed closed a moment longer, like she was memorizing the feeling, so that even if it faded, she'd remember what it felt like to be truly chosen. When they pulled apart, he whispered, You still want to go somewhere new? She grinned behind the visor. I want to go somewhere real. He got on the bike. She climbed behind him, hands wrapped tight around his waist. As they drove off, the wind carried the edges of the banner behind them like wings, and somewhere in the distance a teacher whispered, Finally. Something worth writing home about. Back in her bedroom that night, Da-yeon opened her diary, the same one where she used to write about fears, doubts, and safe little dreams. She turned to a blank page and for the first time wrote a new title, The Day I Let Go of Control and Found Something Stronger Than Perfection.